4.5 billion years ago, there was no blue sky, no ocean, no life, only a newborn world, spinning, glowing, violent. This was Earth before Earth. Back then, our planet was nothing but molten rock and fire. Asteroids rained down from the heavens, smashing into the surface with unimaginable force. Each impact released the energy of 1,000 nuclear bombs. The air itself was poison, a mix of carbon dioxide, methane, and sulfur. If you had stood there, you would have seen a dark red horizon, rivers of lava, and skies choked with ash. So how, from that chaos, did this planet become our home? How did a world born in fire turn into one that could cradle life? Let's begin at the very beginning. It started about 4.6 billion years ago. Our solar system was a cloud, a swirling sea of dust and gas called the solar nebula. At its center, gravity pulled matter together, sparking the birth of the sun. Around it, the leftover debris began to clump, spin, and collide. In those collisions, the early Earth took shape. It wasn't born gently. It was forged by violence. Rock after rock slammed together, melting from the heat of impact. For millions of years, the young planet was a glowing sphere of magma. But this chaos was necessary, because as those collisions continued, heavier elements like iron and nickel sank to the core, while lighter ones rose to form the crust. This separation created something extraordinary, a magnetic field. That invisible shield, born deep within the Earth, would one day protect the surface from the deadly radiation of space. It was the first quiet miracle. But the story of habitability has another key moment, one of destruction and creation intertwined. Around 4.5 billion years ago, a Mars-sized planet called Theia slammed into the young Earth. The collision was catastrophic. Debris was thrown into orbit, and for a time, Earth itself was half melted again. From that debris, gravity sculpted a new companion, the Moon. At first, it orbited much closer than it does today. Its gravitational pull stabilized Earth's tilt, keeping our climate from spiraling into chaos. It also created the tides, the endless rise and fall of the oceans that would one day nurture life. So from one of the most violent impacts in cosmic history came a balance, a rhythm, a stability that life would depend on. Over time, the bombardment slowed, Earth began to cool, the molten crust hardened, volcanoes erupted constantly, spewing gas into the air. Water vapor, carbon dioxide, nitrogen. These became the ingredients of our first atmosphere. But this atmosphere was deadly to us, thick, toxic, and without a trace of oxygen. Still, it did something crucial. It trapped heat. Without it, the Earth would have been frozen solid. As the surface cooled further, the water vapor began to condense, and for the first time in Earth's history, it rained. It rained for thousands of years, storm after storm after storm. The rain filled the lowlands, carving valleys, filling basins, until the first oceans were born. Imagine that, a red world slowly turning blue, the sound of rain falling on volcanic rock, the first seas reflecting the glow of a dim young sun. Now Earth had water, the single most important ingredient for life. But water alone wasn't enough. The oceans were still boiling hot, filled with dissolved minerals and chemicals from volcanic vents. Lightning flashed across the skies, striking the seas again and again. Each strike split molecules apart and forced them to recombine into something new. Hydrogen, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, the essential building blocks of life. And in that churning chemical soup, something extraordinary began to happen. Simple molecules started linking together, forming chains of amino acids, the precursors to proteins. No one knows exactly how or where life began, whether it was in deep-sea vents, shallow pools, or even delivered by comets. But the chemistry was right, the environment stable, the energy constant. Somewhere, somehow, a single molecule copied itself. It made a twin, a version of itself. That was the moment everything changed. It was the dawn of biology. Those first living forms were nothing like us, tiny, fragile, microscopic, the ancestors of all life on Earth. They thrived in the oceans, feeding on chemicals and sunlight, multiplying endlessly. For billions of years, they shaped the world in silence. Slowly, these ancient microbes began releasing a gas as waste, oxygen. At first, oxygen was poison. It killed many of the very creatures that produced it. But over millions of years, the atmosphere transformed. Oxygen began to accumulate, forming the sky we know today and the ozone layer that would protect future life from the sun's deadly rays. The planet had finally become breathable. So how did Earth become habitable for life? It wasn't a single moment. It was a chain reaction, a cosmic story of violence, chemistry, and time. A world shattered by impacts gave birth to a moon that steadied it. Volcanoes that once poisoned the air gave it the gases needed for rain. Rain created oceans. Oceans birthed life. And life, in turn, reshaped the air, the land, and even the light itself. Every breath we take, every drop of water we drink, traces its lineage back to those first impossible moments, when a molten planet learned how to live. Today, when you look at the night sky, every star you see holds the potential for worlds like ours. But Earth is unique, at least as far as we know. A planet that balanced destruction and creation perfectly enough to sustain us. It took billions of years, countless coincidences, and unimaginable transformations, but somehow, from all that chaos, came a place we could call home. This is where history truly begins, before the pyramids, before the empires, before even the first spark of civilization. It all began here, with a world of fire that became a world of life. Next time, we'll step forward in time, from chemistry to humanity, and uncover how the first humans appeared on this ancient, living world. But for now, close your eyes and imagine that first rainfall falling on a silent planet that was just beginning to breathe.